Welcome to another What's Going On PSA. I'm Lisa, one of the educators here in the park, and I'm with my good friend here, Nick Dorico. And we're here at Collier Preserve. And we're here to ask Nick some questions. Collier Preserve is located in Boardman Township. It's off of Western Reserve Road and Tippecanoe. And some of you might remember it as Orvitz Sod and Turf Farm. It consists of over 300 acres of uplands and wetland habitats. And the Metro Parks acquired this property using grants from the Clean Ohio Conservation Fund and Wetland Resource Restoration Scholarship Program. Now, there are about 6 miles of trails that are marked throughout the preserve that go through the wetlands and upland habitats. And visitors can hike these trails and experience the habitats and the wildlife that live here. Now, some of the things you might see are white-tailed deer, coyote, eastern cottontail rabbits, red-tailed hawks, and a variety of songbirds. And today, I haven't seen them, but I can smell them, skunk. Now, parking for this preserve is on Western Reserve Road, and there are no restroom facilities located here. So Nick, what's going on here at Collier Preserve coming up in the next month or so?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. So we are planning a prescribed fire here at the Collier Preserve in the section located at the corner of Tippecanoe and Western Reserve. Behind me here we have a approximately 48-acre former agricultural field that was planted to native warm season grasses. Now we're 4 years post-planting, and we're going to introduce prescribed fire or controlled fire as a management tool.
So what are the benefits of using a controlled fire as a management tool?
Yeah, so controlled fire, it really it mimics natural cycles. You know, pre-settlement, low intensity fires were fairly common across the landscape, and they really help to establish and maintain grasslands. You know, if you were to let this go unmanaged, different types of woody trees and shrubs and such would start to come in and recolonize the area. So controlled fire is just a tool that we could use to keep this in an early successional state, in a state of grasslands.
Okay, now, right now, what part of the preserve are we located that you will be doing the controlled burn?
Yeah, so we have Tippecanoe Road right behind me here, Western Reserve off to the south. So this field really just starts at the corner of those two roads, which is the property boundaries. And then it continues behind me here and also wraps around the corner here to the north. Like I said, about 48 acres in total.
And our preserve is a little over 300 acres, correct?
Yeah, 303 in total.
Okay. Now, what is the date set for this controlled burn?
So we don't have an exact date yet. That'll be very weather dependent, but the target range is mid-March through the end of April.
Okay. Who will be conducting the controlled burn, and how long will it actually take to do?
Yeah, so we're working with Davy Resource Group. They'll be, they designed the burn, or the prescription for the burn. They're handling all of the coordination and permitting and such, and they will also be carrying out the burn on the day of. So yeah, it'll only take 1 day.
Wow, 1 day.
Yeah, really, assuming we get good weather conditions, which a burn requires near perfect weather conditions to carry out. So really, it should just be 1 day, maybe a little bit of cleanup on the second day.
Okay, will this impact park visitors?
So the facility will be closed for the day, just to keep everybody safe. So we'll put out a press release and probably a social media posting a little bit closer to the actual date, when we have an actual date in mind. But yeah, the facility will be closed that day.
Are there any potential risks, and what are they if there are risks?
In a controlled setting, the use of low intensity fire is very safe. It's, being conducted by trained professionals in a closed system where we have control, and that's why it's controlled or called a controlled burn, and it's also called a prescribed burn because there's a prescription that the burn manager fills out and designs that has to be met, and that prescription can be everything from weather conditions to site conditions, and those all have to be met, so the fire is very predictable, so it's very low risk.
Okay. Now, after the controlled burn, when would you reseed and put the native plants back in?
Yeah, so it won't require any physical reseeding afterwards. So the fire will come through, it'll consume the standing dead material behind me here. But what it will also do, it'll suppress any woody trees and shrubs that are trying to recolonize. It'll suppress our non-native or undesirable cool season grasses, but it will benefit and bolster the native warm season grasses that we want here behind me, and it'll also stimulate the native seed bank, because again, fire is part of the natural cycle, and native species are adapted to fire cycles, and they respond very well and very quickly afterwards. So we carry out the burn here in the next few weeks. The field will be greening up almost as normal come May.
So you don't have to cultivate it or do anything afterward, it just nature's going to happen on its own?
Yep, nature's going to happen on its own. Of course you could overseed or something if you wanted, but that's not going to be included at this point in the management. We're just going to see what nature gives us, so we're very hopeful.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for another What's Going On PSA. I'm Lisa and Nick, and thanks for joining us today, and we hope to see you sometime here in the park. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.